The performance from Mercedes in Monaco to claim the team's first 1-2 in 7 years. But who else shone in the Principality, and who had weekends to forget? Let's kick this section of the show off with Red Bull, guys. It was an interesting weekend for them. They had one disappointed driver on on Saturday rather, one on Sunday with their various tactics. How do you assess their weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't plain sailing, as Will mentioned before about Daniel in qualifying. That wasn't ideal. But I think Max put a lap together in Q3 and did a pretty good job to be up there, in fourth. He's obviously extremely disappointed on Sunday. He feels a little bit let down by the strategy, but it's one of those, as we mentioned before, the undercut usually works there. This year with the new tyres and not coming at temperature, it didn't work, and they risked it with Max. And I suppose part of the the nice thing they had was they had two cars there, so they could try one with the other, and when one works, you're always going to end up with one disappointed driver, and that's what they've got. But I think again this weekend they took a step. They looked closer than normal. Let's see when we go to Canada, because there's quite a few straights there, and we'll see how competitive the engine is. But they seem to be making progress, and that's what's important.
Well, it was interesting after the race that both Mercedes, Toto Wolff and Christian Horner said that they were uncertain, that they didn't know going into the race that the overcut would prove so much powerful. Do you think the fact that Ricciardo, like Vettel, benefited from that shows that perhaps in Ferrari's defence that they didn't know?
Yeah, absolutely, and there was a limited amount of running on the super soft tyre over the weekend, and so everybody went into the race not really knowing how long it would take to warm those tyres up and get them into the operating window. And what Sebastian said after the race was really interesting, because he said that when Valtteri and Max pitted so early and came out, they were running 1/16s. And Kimi was at the front running 1/17s. And so at that point, suddenly the thought process is, right, well, the ultras are dead, get onto the supers because they're running quicker. But it turned out that Kimi's pace was so slow that actually you could still stay out in clean air on the ultra soft and get time out of them, as we saw with Seb dropping down into the 1/15s. So actually, it was Kimi's pace that threw everybody off the scent there. And let everybody think that actually the supers were quicker than the ultras, when the opposite was true. Ultimately, as we said, right at the top, Kimi made his own bed in that regard, be it because he couldn't keep the pace on the ultras or because he was intentionally backing off the pace. But looking at Red Bull, yeah, they pulled the gun, trying to get the jump on Valtteri. It didn't quite work out. Max was fuming on the radio. Took him ages to come down to the interview pen afterwards. He was down there when the top three were down there. Normally he would have been and gone by then. So clearly he's taken some time to calm himself down, talk to the team, no doubt get the PR people saying, this is what we need you to say, please don't be so upset about it. But look, Max finished the race, first time ever. Red Bull didn't forget Daniel's tyres, so positive weekend for Red Bull Racing.
And it was also a positive weekend for sister team Toro Rosso, and particularly Carlos Sainz. I mean,
he's mega.
He is mega.
He's so mega.
And will the top teams, we know that Renault had a real look at him last year, and will maybe teams further up the grid, Ferrari maybe, or teams with a seat, start looking at him? I don't think anybody's ever done 4 years at Toro Rosso.
No. Well, they have to. I mean, he's, ever since he's been there, he's been extremely good, and he's getting better and better, more consistent. I think these cars probably suit him a bit more than before as well. With the high downforce, when I raced him in World Series, the cars were quite similar. And he's really exceptional in situations like that, and it's nice to see him maturing and growing, and it would be nice to see him in a Ferrari, or who knows, even a Red Bull, depending on where people go at the end of the year.
He's doing an astonishing job this year. Whether he qualifies outside of the points or in the points, he brings it home every single weekend. And Red Bull have got a really tough choice at the end of the year, because they've got 3 potential world champions on their books, and Carlos isn't going to stay around at Toro Rosso forever. He is a potential champion, and he needs a good seat. Does he go to Ferrari? Does Daniel go to Ferrari? Does Max end up at Mercedes? I mean, who knows? But Red Bull can't hope to hang on to all 3 of them for another year. It doesn't work. Their aspirations are too high.
And just a quick tip, where might we see Carlos next year?
In Formula One.
Well,
don't get us started on silly season yet.